Hey, welcome back to another Stay Woke podcast presented by thetonicbreakdown.com. This is DeRa Brinson, and
Hey, this is Ready. Thanks for having me here one more time.
so if Reddy's here, you know what topic we talking about. Some comics, because he's our comic expert. And again, thank you for following and listening, and check out our all our social media pages: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Stumble, all of them. Check it out and give us a follow, a like, and keep rocking with us. So, like I said, if Reddy's here, we talking about comics, comic books, comic movies, something superhero comic book related. We got to talk to you about Civil War because we saw it Friday night when it came out. We didn't go to the Thursday night release. Cats got to work, Both of us got full-time jobs. We can't just be, staying out late. Should I wake up early? So I wasn't doing the Thursday night release.
Wake up early for what I believe.
But anyways, we went to the Friday night Civil War, or I should say Captain America Civil War, because it is considered a Captain America movie.
Go see that shit. That shit is awesome.
And I will say it was great. It was a great movie. Before we even get into that, what we like about it, because we already stated it, I'm going to say, what was your expectations going into it?
Honestly, man, with the character development from the last several movies and the integration, I was already expecting it had to be good because this is that staple, This is kind of like when we were talking about with the Justice League. This was that introduction to a major series of movies, as well as the introduction of that Spider-Man. For those who haven't seen, this is spoilers all day.
Yeah, but we preface it. I should have prefaced that from the beginning. If you haven't seen it, you might not want to listen to this podcast until after. But because we gonna give nuggets, Easter eggs, spoilers, anything you could think of that might be a problem, you might hear it here today. So we waited. We waited a week.
Yeah, you got some time.
And then we still gotta wait till you get the podcast out. So you got some time. So you should be abreast of what's going on at this point. So your expectations were high for it. Yeah. My expectations were high. Did it live up to the expectations, or would you say it surpassed it?
I mean, I can never say it's a passer just because my imagination is too wild. It can never fit into that kind of category.
Oh,
but I would definitely say this,
it's too vast, huh?
Bro, you don't even know, bro. I thought this could go a million other ways. But how they developed it to show for that future movie expansions, for, the next Civil War, and especially for, oh my gosh, it just went blank on me real quick. The Infinity Wars, So they set them up as well as the new movies, like the introduction of the new Spider-Man is kind of dope. I want to ask you, though, what do you think of the new Spider-Man, the new Peter Parker?
I was a little disappointed because I thought I was going to be the Miles Morales, the black, Hispanic or Latin Spider-Man, and it wasn't necessarily even had anything to do with the race. It was more of the fact of I like that Spider-Man's powers and the difference that it had in comparison to the normal Spider-Man.
Yeah, people ain't ready for that, though.
So that was what I was looking for, as well as adding another. I thought the diversity would be nice, but the bigger thing to me at that point was more about the powers. The ethnic diversity was an added bonus to that character for me.
Yeah, but
because
I'll say about this one, the reason why I think they
race.
chose this one is because when we do look at the old comic books in the Civil War, it was still Peter Parker that had an actual toll in the fight. You know what I'm saying?
No, and that's why I don't have a problem with why they chose that.
Right.
I just figured we've done, in essence, that Spider-Man role. You know what I'm saying? We've done that Spider-Man several times.
Yeah.
Several times with two iterations of it. With a different.
Isn't it been 3 now? We had the Toby.
We had the Andrew Garfield, Yeah,
and then now we're gonna have the new guy. This is
I know, but I'm saying prior to this one, two iterations before that, and so I was like, and they changed the storyline in both of those iterations. So I just felt like if we're gonna do it again,
At least
Why
give
don't
that
we do it
diversity.
in a whole different route? But the route and the character and the casting that they did, I enjoyed. I thought he was
Alright.
a good character. I thought the casting that they picked, the actor, I don't know the actor's name that played him. I thought he was really good. Um, I just thought that it was nice, and I liked that the aspect that they made him younger and they made him a teenager, because that adds to the playful joyfulness that Spider-Man has. I don't feel it works as well. Because it makes, to me, it makes the Tobey Maguire as well as the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, because they're older and they still have that playful joking kind of thing. It makes them look, to me, more assholey
Right.
than when it's played from a
Tom
kid's
Holland.
perspective. Tom Holland. When they play it from a kid's perspective, it's not assholey. It's just the fact that they're young and immature.
Yeah.
And they
that,
just
that was Spider-Man, though.
and
That was really
and even
Spider-Man, though.
the jokes that he had during those lines, they would, from an adult's perspective, from an adult saying them, they would become an asshole. From his, it was like he just doesn't know.
Yeah, he's a kid.
He doesn't get the reference of if you say this to somebody, that is going to come off that way.
That's why I honestly say I loved him as a Spider-Man, because
Mhm.
when he came in, like, even in, so there's a major scene in the movie that I know we'll probably get to, so I won't give you too much, but this is a big, airport fight scene, and the whole time Spider-Man is fighting the characters, like, he's giving those quips that you always used to, where, he would say some random stuff like, one part I love, he's like, I'm just so excited to be here, I'm not even mad. Like,
Exactly.
he was just honest, like, excitement as a kid of being in a giant fight with
But
his, like, superhero idol.
That same line coming from an adult, you saying, "Oh, you're being sarcastic. You're being,"
Right.
and it would come off as being an asshole.
Only person who can get away with that is Deadpool.
Ex-
But Deadpool's an asshole.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
why
what I was
he
going to
gets
say.
away
He's
with
in.
it.
Yeah, it's not that he gets away with it. It's just that it is what we think it is. You're an asshole, like, and you're fine, and you accept it, and you embrace it, and that's you. So, I did like that aspect. And what I will say, to me, the best part of this movie, and why it might, I have to watch it a couple of more times. It might surpass First Class as my favorite, is because of how well they set this up.
Okay.
And that is what Batman versus Superman was
Failed to do.
lacking.
Yes.
The way that Marvel set this up was
beautiful.
perfect. There was no questions. Like, I didn't walk away saying, the only questions I have is for the future of the films.
Right.
And
Like, how is it going to develop?
how is it going
Where
to
they gonna
develop
go from
more? Where in Batman versus Superman, I was questioning, well, why did he feel this way? How did he get here?
You left
Why
with
did
more
they go
questions
there?
than you came
About
in
the
with.
past,
here?
and you still had questions about the future. Leaving this movie, the only questions I have is about the future.
Right.
Everything in the past is either answered or you don't know about yet,
Yeah,
because
it's
because
to come.
it's exactly.
And the one thing I want to agree with you. We talked a little bit about when we did the the Marvel one with the Batman Superman.
You mean the DC? Yeah,
Yeah.
DC Batman versus Superman.
Batman DC vs Superman. Batman vs Superman. I said that so wrong. Sorry about that. Is how they introduced Wonder Woman. It felt really rushed and it didn't feel really good. But when
Exactly.
we talk about how they introduced not only one character, Spider-Man, but also the awesome actor that played Black Panther. Their introduction of it, you didn't have questions like why he was involved. You didn't leave wondering like, okay.
Yeah, like it was forced. It didn't feel
It
forced.
felt natural, like it should have happened. Like
Yeah.
and it felt the integration of it. He had reason and rhyme to be who he was in the movie.
And why he was there, and why he was concerned, why he was bothered by it. It shows how well and thought out they really put into this movie,
Yep.
and how they put into the way that I see the difference between the two is Marvel thought about this 10 years ago.
Yep, they always
Of
have that
how they were
10-year
going to
plan.
get to this endpoint, and now at this endpoint, they've already thought about the next 10 years. So
DC doesn't do
that by the time you get to that 10th year, you've already figured out how you're going to make that world fit.
With
Where
everything
DC is they're going year by year by year. Okay, well, we're going to do this year. Okay, well, now we want to do 5 more movies, but we don't know exactly how we're going to get there, but we'll figure it out as we go, kind of thing. We know we're going to have these characters, but we don't know how they're going to fit into this world. Where Marvel, it's not figuring out what characters to fit into the world. They already have this story, and they're trying to figure out how how to break the story up
into multiple
and
pieces.
basically
Yep.
to multiple pieces, because they can't present it to you as one 3-week movie. You know what I'm saying? That you got to say. You know what I'm saying? They're smart about it because it's one continuous story
And
that's consistent,
the
and the
part that
world
I,
is.
I like that you said that. I agree with
great.
you even more is when we do Marvel, not only do they have that good story development, but from beginning to end, they always have great character development. Through one
Exactly.
movie, you can see how a character goes from being a straight badass to, okay, now I learned from that mistake, like, and I can move on. Like, two prime examples of that in this movie was being able to see Tony Stark still regretting the past of Ultron.
Exactly.
Like, it showed that depth of he still feels regret, as well as
And that's affecting his
decisions.
That's affecting his that moment. And in that movie, they made it pivotal so that you had to focus on that moment, and that moment is still showing you're still seeing the ramifications of that moment. Because remember, in the Age of Ultron, they had that scene where the Scarlet Witch did her voodoo, yada yada yada, and he saw everybody dead. Remember that scene?
Yep.
That's the scene that affected him creating Ultron. And then that decision, based on that dream, that premonition, that foresight, is still affecting him in this movie.
Yep.
So that it shows you, it has you invested from previous movies, and it's still connecting you to those movies. So it's not, when you see things, it's not, you're not questioning why does he feel that way? You know why he feels that way.
That's one thing.
It's amazing.
I credit
And
Marvel
that's
way
a
better
great
than DC
storyline.
because even when DC, like when we go back to Batman vs Superman, when they go back to the other movie, they don't explain it enough. So if like you only seen that one movie, you don't really get that preview. But Marvel, like, it doesn't just say this happened and keep it moving on. They like almost re-explain it in a way that fits with the movie. So if you just watch that one movie, you know everything everybody else does to enough extent where you can enjoy the movie and continue with the development.
Exactly. And they always integrate and segregate, in essence, characters properly. The last movie, Age of Ultron, they had Hulk in the shuttle basically saying goodbye to Black Widow. Like, he's going off the grid. He's going back to being seclusive.
And that's
so
what we saw in this movie.
And so we saw in this movie, no, but they brought it to their attention. It was a simple way of addressing it without taking a lot of scenes, which
convoluted.
Yeah, exactly, convoluted. It was like, we don't know where he is.
He just disappeared.
Basically, well, if you can find him, and that tells you that they still don't know where he was based on what we saw in the last movie.
And that same thing with Thor, because at the end of the last movie,
He
went back to
home. Asgard.
He had to go to Asgard. So when there's a part where
because his father was going to sleep and he had to protect the
he's
kingdom.
Trying to prove like, if I lost 2 nuclear weapons, I'll be really worried, or something along them lines.
Exactly.
And it was a perfect addressing of that whole statement. Everybody wanted to know, like, you didn't need more information, you didn't need nothing else because it was answered.
Exactly. And so the way they did that was excellent. Now that we've kind of addressed the integration of past movies into this one, let's talk about the integration of the new characters. We talked about Spider-Man. I want to address my favorite new character that I've been oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this character for a long time, since I saw the freaking Netflix movie about Black Panther. The way they integrated Black Panther was perfect. Epic. It was I couldn't integrate him into that movie any better without making it seem forced. He was integrated into the UN scene because of them wanting to get the split of sides of them signing the treaty, whatever, in essence.
The accords.
The accords rather, exactly. And the way they brought it in, it didn't seem forced and made sense. The casting on it, Chadwick Boseman, excellent. Awesome. Excellent. He, from reading the comics, from watching the movie on Netflix, the cartoon movie, he was exactly what I envisioned. His demeanor, his charm, his confidence, but at the same time being humble.
He dripped swagoo, but he dripped it in a way that, like, he was an educated swag. Like, he came up and he was very humble with his pops, because there's a part that, like, really
shows so much respect.
Showed him, he was talking to Dad, and Dad was like, "I'm so proud of you. You're awesome." And he kind of gave that back, like, "Nah, Dad, I'm proud of you. Look what you did." Like,
Yeah.
look what we're doing. We're here to sign the accords. And the part that was touching, that showed the beginning of this version of this particular Black Panther, is when, spoiler alert, they kill off his dad on some, suicide bombing type X stuff, and he's in his arms, and the emotion he showed in the crying was great. It was awesome. Like, and then you knew at that point, like, the Black Panther was born. It's freaking epic. And the one thing I wanted to talk about, because I wanted to ask you about this, because I loved it, like, how they made his suit. His suit looks awesome to me, Brad.
Yeah, the costume designer, they did a great job, because that, and not as great as his, but because we already know about Iron Man, but the transition and the polish and the more futuristic they made that version feel.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice touch, and it was subtle, but it was drastic enough that those that really notice will notice. I noticed the difference.
The minute he put it on, you saw, like, okay, that's his.
I was like, okay, he upgraded this one, but no, back to T'Challa, back to Black Panther. That outfit was great, fit the comics to a T. Mm-hmm. They had even the necklace, and I even like the fact that they didn't have the necklace swinging. Yep. They had it like embedded into the costume, because that makes more sense. If you're going to be an agile person, you don't want anything that can get snagged,
that can get grabbed, thrown, or anything
like
that.
That gives your opponent an advantage. And so the attention to detail in that was amazing.
The part that I really enjoyed is before it came out, everybody was kind of clowning on the Black Panther, talking about his claws are going to be like a little kitty cat's. But there's a part where he's fighting Captain America,
and they come out. They
come out, and when they come out, and like he scrapes the shield, and he scrapes it that perfect where like, oh yeah, he was gonna rip through. Like he was ready. Like, he showed that the Black Panther from the beginning to the end is a beast. He's not that dude to mess with.
No, and not just that, but they also showed his intelligence.
Yep.
And that, because to me, I'm going to take it somewhat to the racial ethnic side. Just for a second, guys, bear with me. Usually, when they introduce black heroes into comics, movies, they're usually either muscleheads or they have some mutant power, but it usually is never intelligence. Yeah. It's never usually associated with intelligence. And I'm not saying that is necessarily a conscious effort, but it's an effort, or it is something that I notice, that I see. And maybe if I'm wrong, please notate. And I'm talking about, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about prior.
There are some superheroes that have the ability of intelligence that can mimic, but there's no like, the one thing they don't normally do in those universes. You don't have like the Tony Stark of intelligence.
The Tony Starks, the fantastic Mr. Reed Richards, the Bruce Banners, and the list can go on and on and on for non-black, I'll say.
You can name like maybe one intelligent black superhero, and that's probably Cyborg, because he's half robot.
So like,
it's not the same.
Quote unquote, it seems like it's the intelligence from. Yeah. But on a side note, that is another reason why I enjoyed Black Panther so much as well, because I consider myself as an educated black man, and I saw Black Panther as an educated black man that's a superhero. And what's better than that? Like, for me to relate to. I don't think I'm a genius. I wish.
The part
I truly
that
wish.
It showed is the true wealth and the diplomacy of Wakanda. His
exactly.
Nation, like, the one thing that most people don't always really realize, like, everyone thinks like Tony Stark and Reed Richards are really, really, and the Dr. Doom are the richest people in that universe, and not by far.
Yeah, like, Wakanda is the richest.
He's the richest. He has more wealth than most of the world.
Yeah,
like, because of the vibranium mines, and that was the other part that I liked about the
that they brought that to attention.
They brought that straight to it,
and they did integrate that into the suit. That's why he basically
he's bulletproof.
Yeah, he's bulletproof. He's basically everything that Captain America's shield can take, he can take,
and then some. I mean,
because it's interwoven instead of, and because that the shield is a crude interpretation of fabrication of vibranium. Wakandans have it down packed.
Yep.
Like I
They
said,
know all ways to make
they've
it.
made it into woven material, so that's why he's
Weapons, everything.
flexible. The suit is malleable enough that he can do
Do
all those
backflips
contours,
like it ain't
and he's
nothing.
agile as he can be, but still remain the tensile strength of vibranium at its core. So
Yeah.
that to me was nice as well as the ending or
Yeah.
the
Extra scene.
the extra scene where they kind of bring you into Wakanda and they show you how advanced
Black
of a
Panther
race.
There's a statue at the end that's just so sick of Black
It's amazing. So to me, that was my favorite new character. I did like
But
Spider-Man.
Hold on, forget Spider-Man. There's a part I was talking to my brother about this a couple days ago after we actually saw the movie, and there's several parts where basically like it shows. I want to talk about because it's awesome to me. That shows how agile Black Panther really was. There's a part where everybody's running after the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier jumps between from different decks on car lots, and when he hits the ground, it's a big old like bang, right?
Yes.
And then Black Panther jumps down. And
All right,
you just hear like that ninja that's just. And then it goes, and then one other part where
there were several scenes.
Yeah, like they showed it over and over
and
again.
and that is another. I'm glad you brought up that point. I'm so happy you brought up that point because to me that goes back to what we're talking about is that attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
He's called Black Panther for a reason because he has the agility of a Black Panther as well as the strength and the ferocity. That's his skill set. What do everybody say about cats is when they land on their feet, one, and that it's soft.
Yeah. Hey, did you catch the Easter egg? Because there's a beautiful Easter egg in there that said it multiple times, but they were talking about kind of how he makes there's a part later on in the future where he makes a deal basically with the death god and gets like extreme powers, and there was a nice little ad in there that showed like this may be a possible for maybe which I'm gonna love, I know you do too, is his own movie and who his director is, so we already know it's about to go down because they're gonna do it right, because it's a perfect combination of the perfect black guys to make the perfect black movie. Like it's gonna be dope.
It's as if you don't know, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce your last name, bro. Ryan Coogler, the director of Creed, is going to be the director of Black Panther.
Yeah.
That
is nice.
Oh Lord, I am excited for that movie because if you haven't seen Creed, please see it. It was a great movie. It was well written as well as well directed. The choice of scenes that he picked, that scene with Michael B. Jordan as Creed's son running with the bikes, and the way they had the music, how they had Meek Mill's playing, Lord Willin playing, and the way they had that scene shot, it gets you hyped. Like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to fight too. Like, we getting ready, let's go. Like it's the way it was shot, the way it was art on screen, but still had a message and fit the storyline. It wasn't just a scene that was, oh, it looks pretty, so we're just gonna throw it in here. It looked pretty, but it fit the scene. And so if he can accomplish that
with Creed,
Creed, if he can do the same thing with Black Panther, we are in for a good movie. And like we said from the beginning, Chad, gosh, I just said his name too.
Black Panther dude.
Boseman.
Yeah.
He played that role so well. I'm excited to see him because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I seen him in the James Brown movie Get Up.
Yep.
He was great in that movie. I saw 42. I didn't like 42 I didn't like it that much, but it wasn't his fault. It just didn't cover areas that I thought that should cover, and it was more about the writing than his acting.
Right.
But again, he did great in Get Up, and he did great in this movie.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, the attention to detail about him jumping, amazing.
And
the
his
car
sneaking
scene,
skills and listening. Yeah, the car scenes.
Yep, him listening, him ability to hear, his intelligence, the confidence, as well as as the humbleness, but
Hey,
as well as his caring.
speaking on that confidence, my favorite scene that showed how confident it was, there was a part where, Black Widow goes up to him while he's going out to his car and was like, yeah, it took Shield, what she say, Shield like 6 years
Mhm.
to find the Winter Soldier. He was like, well, that's good because we'll find it faster.
Mhm.
And with that confidence, like, yeah, I know we can find it. We have more resources than you think
Yeah,
we do.
and so it comes off as being cocky, but in actuality, it's not cocky. It's really confidence because he knows the ability of his people.
Mm-hmm.
He knows their technology is way more advanced than theirs. So what takes us, quote unquote, 6 years, it takes him 6 months.
Right? 'Cause he
Not
really
you
has
know what I'm
it.
saying? Because they're that more advanced in every aspect, and that's another thing that a lot of people are saying that this movie shows. There's a lot of propaganda about anti-government, government, all that stuff. I'm not gonna get into that because you can read into things more if you want
It's a
to.
movie.
I'm just taking it and I'm keeping it in that world.
Yeah.
Everything fit in that world.
So,
But
speaking about the government, Dan, because I had this debate with my brother, so I want to see your side on it right now. One time, who you with? Are you Cap fan? Or are you Iron Man with it?
I'm Captain American
Okay.
fan, but I can see Iron Man's viewpoint. I can see why he chose to go with the government because of the decisions that he made prior, which we talked about, which integrated nicely the
Mhm.
setup of Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I agree with Captain America is because at the end of the day, all of the people, there's nobody in the Avengers that I believe at the end of the day would not put is more selfless than selfish.
Not even Tony Stark.
Not even Tony Stark, because even his selfishness
It's still
is
selfless.
still selfless. He wants to be the one that saves the world.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be in that position. And I'd rather somebody that wants to be in that position to save the world than somebody that just wants the money, just wants the fame.
The glory.
He
Yeah.
wants he wants to help people, but he wants to be that person that helps people.
But see,
That's better than somebody that just wants the like I said, the notoriety or just to be there.
And that's that. Funny that you said that because I kind of love that too. If we go back to with whose sides in the progression of the story, where there's several iconic scenes with Captain America showing why really this is even though it's an Avengers movie, but why this is really his movie, because they did so many times where they showed the righteousness of Cap, like that no matter if he thinks this is wrong or if he thinks this is right, he's gonna go with his heart, and he doesn't matter who he has to go against. He's that all American good old boy. Like he wants to do the right thing.
And that was exemplified by the scene with against spoiler alert. Okay, that's enough of that because y'all know the basically a 3-way battle that turned into a 2-way battle.
Dope.
Winter Soldier, Captain America, and Iron Man.
Yeah.
In that scene, basically, there's a scene where basically Winter Soldier's down for the count.
Yep.
Iron Man and Captain America go at it.
Yep.
I believe in that
poster picture.
yeah,
I love that poster picture.
It's an epic scene.
Yeah.
If I believe in that scene, if Captain America won, or I mean, if Iron Man won, he would have killed Captain America.
Well, if we go back to
I think he would have killed Captain America and he would have killed Winter Soldier. Captain America, regardless of how strong, because he's as strong as Tony Stark and Iron Man felt about what he believed in.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America felt equally as strong. The difference is
Cap would never kill.
Captain will never kill somebody that he thinks is deemed,
And
not a villain. Not
I don't think Iron Man would kill him on purpose. I think if
No,
it
I don't
was
think-
something,
yeah.
it would be like one of those accidental, like to defeat you, I had to go my biggest thing
Yeah, no.
and accidentally killed you in the process.
Yeah, I don't think he would do it on purpose, and I think it would have been like blind rage. He
Mm-hmm.
would have just like punched him hard, and thinking that I have to hit, like you said, I have to hit him hard enough, or else he's gonna keep on getting up.
And
he hits him hard enough, and he dies.
And especially with that major a bomb drop, because I'm hella glad you talk about that, because they finally showed, and they put it since the beginning of this movie, that the Winter Soldier killed his family. That killed
his
Iron Man's
father.
family, and that
His
was
father
that
and mother,
perfect
yeah.
setup that if Iron Man was going to kill both of them, that's when he would have did it.
Yeah.
And he did it without doubt, which, at the end, he was like, leave that shield. My dad sent that shield, which was one of those iconic moments within the comic books, all the TV shows, where Cap doesn't have his shield, but he still shows you he can still do what he needs to do without his shield. His shield is, he is not his shield. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is better with his weapon or without his weapon. And that kind of touched you because he showed, like, especially, at the end, they always got to have, the words of wisdom. And Cap, gave his wisdom basically like, I would never leave a friend behind. It doesn't matter if it was you, him, or anybody else. If I consider you a friend, I'm going to go above and beyond. You may not agree with me, but I always see you as my friend, and I still have your back. We just don't agree this one time.
I agree. And then that's why I can put it this way. If you take the decision that you had to make with the Avengers and you put 20 different other superhero groups, my opinion on which side I would be on would change.
Okay. So
because the reason why I say I would pick Captain America's side in this discussion is because of Captain America's righteousness. The fact that at the end of the day, regardless of if he's going to die as a result of it or not, he's going to always try to do what's right and what he thinks is right. And from the experience that we've seen with Captain America, all those times have been justifiable.
But speaking of what you just said, they set it up so perfect for that next movie with, having the Accords where for some reason the beginning of the Accords blanks my mind, but the Accords were basically making superheroes register their power and be with the government. It set it up for two major things that I think they may show as first. The general, being in charge of it, we all know eventually he turns into the Red Hulk. So that kind of whole concept, as well as he abuses the power.
And didn't they bring that up too about the vial being stolen?
Yep, the vial being stolen, and they haven't showed exactly what it is for, quote unquote. But like, we know what it is.
Exactly, but that's the perfect, like you said, that's a perfect example of the integration. Like that's what DC needs to. I don't know if it's about the writers that they're hiring, what I'm saying, but they need to learn that aspect of that's how you integrate things, so that when it's brought up later in another story or another movie, it's not like, well, where did hell this come from? Right. They explained it. Right. You might have missed it, but if you go back and watch the movies, you'll be like, oh yeah, that was there. okay, and that's why that world fits. Another example of that is the Batman versus the Black Widow versus Hawkeye. When they say in the big airport scene is like, we're still gonna be friends after this. Well, it depends on how hard you hit me. Is that they understand that this is it's a battle, but we're not going for blood because we're friends.
Right.
We're friends. We're not villains. We're on the opposite sides. We disagree, and and to me that was another great aspect of that. I think it needs to be more. The world itself needs to be better at being tolerant of others and others' opinions. Like
instead of keeping their own.
Because again, bringing it back to real life. In my life, I got an argument. Not an argument. A discussion with somebody this weekend because I didn't feel the same way they felt, and I was okay with that. But they wanted to put their beliefs and their feelings on me. Like, we have to understand that everybody's not going to believe, feel, think, express the same way you do. But as long as it's not negatively affecting you, you got to let them have that. Like, if I'm a Buddhist and you're a Christian, I'm not telling you got to be a Buddhist. Like, so why does me not being a Christian affect you? Like, if I'm not physically harming you, I'm not talking about your family, I'm not doing anything to harm you, why did just the fact that I believe in something different than you make you want to harm me or make you want to be negative towards me? Like,
see, they exemplified that in this movie,
and that's what I'm saying, and that's something that I liked because first of all, I'm not a Buddhist, but I have nothing against Buddhists. But that's my point is, my views on life is your belief is your belief, my belief is my belief. We can both have our own beliefs, and we both can be friends, and we both can live as long as again, I'm not doing anything negative to you. You're not doing anything negative to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my viewpoint on it. And I think if more people were more tolerant of other people's beliefs and allow them to be them, we'd have less angry people, less violence, less, it'd be more a caring world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like the fact that they did touch on that. And, but to me, that was just an interesting concept. And it resonated with me.
So I wanted to talk, because I know we've been on this thing for a little while. So I did want to talk about one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, the major fight scene, bro.
Of course, we got to bring that.
The fight scene was ridiculous. Because we haven't said one thing. So if you haven't seen the movie, there was another key integral character that we haven't actually brought up, which is actually Ant-Man. Ant-Man actually had a kind of a major.
But I don't get
in the fight. In the fight, he had a major role.
No, he did have a major, but I don't consider him. I don't consider him a new character in essence, because
to the Avengers he is, though.
Yeah, to the Avengers he is, but I don't consider him a new character because he was already introduced to the Marvel world.
I agree.
And he was, again, perfect integration. They segued him within that scene with Red Falcon in his movie. And they ended with somewhat of a teaser to this part. So, that's why I don't consider
a new character, but
Black Panther is literally completely new
universe as of right now,
but he doesn't feel new.
Right.
Spider-Man is completely new, but doesn't necessarily feel new.
Yeah, he's been
Ant-Man
in there one fight.
Is new, but doesn't feel new because again he's already had a full movie.
But the new for him is they finally integrated more of his full ability, making him Giant Man. And that was, I honestly say that was a surprise to me because, I knew they eventually had to show up, but how they did it was a great, it was kind of one of the moments when you kind of tell your friend, yo, bro, I can do something. Hold on, bro. Watch this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just do something and everyone's
it worked.
Oh, crap.
And you're not even sure. It's like back on the basketball court is when, guys was doing different dribbles when the AI commercial came out. The and one, him doing that twist. Cats was coming up with new different dribbles, and it was you wasn't really sure you can do it, but you're I'm gonna just. Oh, it worked! Got him, coach. You know what I'm saying? You do it in the game, and it worked.
It worked.
You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly how they introduced it, and it was nice. To me, the greatest aspect of that fight scene was the fact that they tempered it down, but it still was epic.
Right.
Because it still leaves you room for better and bigger battles.
Yep.
But you don't feel like you were slighted in trying to set up for that. Like watching this movie, I didn't feel let's say I didn't know they were making any more movies. I didn't feel they brought this down. They must be trying to do another movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know they're making other movies.
They didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think they took it away. They made the fight scene as big as it could be that fits the parameters, and they didn't make it extra or lower.
Or
it was
top,
right.
Yeah.
It was right where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Because it has to. They have to leave room for
growth.
Civil War II and Infinity War. Because if this is the best and biggest fight scene,
then
where do you go from
here? We have a crappy road.
Where do we go from here?
And that's why I'm so glad, when we go back to what we were talking about earlier, taking, Thor and Hulk out the picture, because if we did have them in this movie, it
had to be bigger.
It would have been too escalated.
Yeah.
And they'll leave that for, Civil War with the integration of other characters, as well as when you finally do introduce, we know Thanatos is coming, you know what I'm saying? So they gave it room for improvement.
Yeah, they did. So we talked about Black Panther. We talked about Spider-Man. We talked about the other new character. So we basically broke down this movie pretty thoroughly. I know the time is getting a little long, so we're gonna try to wrap a few things up. Let's talk about quickly what you're looking forward to moving forward, and what movies are coming out recently that we're gonna try to. Let me also say this before we go to there. We're gonna try to bring you a podcast for every comic book movie, that comes out because we are comic book nerds, geeks, fans. We enjoy it, as you can tell by this passionate discussion we're having now about Civil War as well as we did the Batman versus Superman. So we are gonna bring you that. So keep on checking back. If a movie gets released in theaters, please believe we're gonna do a podcast on it. Just give us some time. It's gonna come. So keep on checking back for those. Check back for the music reviews, albums that come out with me and William West, our producer. William West, excuse me, our producer slash podcaster. So what are you looking forward to? Because the movie I'm on pins and needles, like ready for Black Panther. That's
that's not till next year though.
Yeah,
bro.
no, that after seeing this movie, that's all I'm waiting for. That and
can't figure. Come on, you gotta say Suicide Squad, bro. I'm super excited about Suicide Squad.
To be honest, Squad. Like I lost my enthusiasm for it because bro, I saw trailers for that before I saw trailers for any of these other movies I've already seen.
Right.
For Batman versus Superman, for Civil War, and X-Men's about to come out. I saw trailers for Suicide Squad before all of those. Like, so my feelings have died. Like they've died down. Like I'm gonna see it when it comes out, but
I'm super excited about it.
I'm excited for Black Panther, and because I'm this excited for Black Panther, I'm probably not gonna watch any trailers until it comes. Like
just
probably
keep it up
the week before I go see it, just so I can maintain it.
I mean, I got a couple good movies I'm really looking forward to, like especially Black Panther. We talked about that. Gotta do the X-Men Apocalypse, Suicide Squad, but then one that
Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm waiting for too.
Guardians of the Galaxy is cool
because I really liked the first one, bro. I'm gonna watch that tonight, actually.
I'm kind of bigger on Doctor Strange. Cause I mean I know there's a big controversy that they ain't making him Asian, and I get that whole controversy. I'm not gonna really touch on that.
Oh, that's right. I did see the previews for
the character himself. Doctor Strange is one of the most powerful characters in that universe. So like if they do him wrong, if they do him right, like I'm thinking think of a higher level of Inception. So you know how Inception was hella trippy, hella visuals. I'm thinking like they should be able to do this level.
They did show that in the previews,
Strange, right?
That the pretty much some Inception type scenes. Mm-hmm. I bet you they're using the same technology, probably enhanced, of course. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm not that excited about it, and it's not because I don't think it's going to be a good movie. I think it is going to be actually a good movie. It's just, to be honest, out of all the superheroes, I know about him the least.
I feel that.
Like how you were saying, I think you said about Ant-Man, like you didn't know that much about Ant-Man. I think it was. I know less about.
He wasn't a fun character to me.
That's like I know less about Doctor Strange. Like I know the basics, and I do know that he's super powerful. I do know that he's instrumental in that world. Like he's that dude. He's one of those dudes. Mm-hmm. But it just, like I said, I don't know enough about him to be excited about him. Like the Wolverine movie, I was excited about because I know so much about Wolverine, and I was just ready to see, that. So I'm excited about Black Panther. I'm excited about, of course, X-Men. But I don't even put that in that list because that's about to be out.
Yeah. Couple weeks. I ain't gonna lie.
Guardians, like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy. I really. That's another movie that I liked the way they integrate, especially for a first movie, they integrated those characters. Mm-hmm. I thought that was well done. Like Marvel storytelling wise on integrating characters is they create worlds and everything in those worlds makes sense. And fits in those worlds. It doesn't fit in our world because there is no superheroes. But in that world where that stuff makes sense, they make everything else around it make sense with it.
Another one I do have to honestly say I'm excited about, but super skeptical, is Wonder Woman, because I've always wanted a big, strong, female lead because Wonder Woman is one of the few people that can beat Superman.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize with all her mystical weapons and her sword that can literally split an atom and cause a atomic explosion inside your body. Like she's a beast, and if they do her right. It can be awesome, but I'm still worried because of what was shown in the movie of Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I like the casting, but it all depends on the writing and the direction,
Mm-hmm.
because direction is a major key.
Yep.
I mean, writing is also a major key, but directing how those scenes are played out and casting, all those things are major. And right now, Marvel seems to have the Midas touch when it comes to those three aspects of superhero movies.
Yep.
So we'll leave it at that, because we know everybody got busy lives. We don't want to keep you too long listening to this podcast. But again, give us comments. Let us know what superheroes you like, what movies you want to see. If you want to hear any more podcasts regarding this stuff or any other topics. Again, keep on rocking with us. Keep on checking back. And you know the motto. Live, love, and above all, for this podcast, watch some great fucking movies. Peace.